Shalom, shalom, family, and greetings to you in the name of our King and High Priest, Yahusha. Shalom. So today's lesson is, who told you you can't be perfect? I was meeting with this man, and he was telling me the reason that he's a Christian man, the reason he doesn't follow the law is that if he had to follow the law, basically he couldn't do it. And the reason he couldn't do it is that essentially that what I was getting from what he was saying is that he's evil. I'm trying to figure out what they're telling you in these churches. Because find the law, I mean, it's not that hard, right? This guy's never tried it, but he's basically telling me he's inherently evil, so he cannot follow the law. But the law is what makes you perfect. And it's not impossible to be perfect for Yahweh. That's what I'm going to show you today. So who told you you can't be perfect? Who told you that you're evil, Christians? Because you're not. So let's start in Bereshit 6 and 9. We're going to look at examples of perfection. Because people will be like, Yahusha or, sorry, not Yahusha, Jesus. Jesus is the only person that's perfect. That's what Christians will say. It's not true. Let's just look in our Bible, right? So, Bereshit 6 and 9. 9 reads, these are the generations of Noach. Noach was a just man and perfect in his generations. And Noach walked with Elohim, walked with Yahweh. So, Noah, first example of perfection. Yahweh, perfection to Yahweh. So, Noach was perfect, right? Let's go to Jubilees 23 and 10. We're going to go Jubilees 23 and 10. Next example of perfection. For Abraham was perfect in all his deeds with Yahweh. Read that again. For Abraham was perfect in all his deeds with Yahweh. Deeds, works. And well-pleasing and righteous all the days of his life. And behold, he did not complete 4 Jubilees in his life, when he had grown old by reason of wickedness and was full of his days. So, boom, Abraham, another example of perfection. So we see 2 things of perfection here. Let's go to, should be Jasher. Jasher 22 and 54. Just to harp this again. Jasher 22, 54. And Yahweh said to Satan, have you thus considered my servant Abraham? For there is none like him upon earth, a perfect and upright man before me, one that fears Elohim and avoids evil. As I live, were I to say it to him, bring Yitzchak your son before me, he would not withhold him from me. Much more if I told him to bring up an ascending smoke offering before me from his flock or herds. So, another example of Abraham, perfection. Perfection. Who's telling you you can't be perfect? Right? A lot of Christian logic will say, well, Jesus is only the only perfect one, right? Because he's God himself. Number one, we don't serve a God, but I understand your logic. He's God himself. So, of course, God coming to human form under your logic is perfect, I would assume. But who's telling you that you can't be perfect? Because we just saw 2, Noach and Abraham, right? Let's go to Jubilees 10:20, 10:17. Jubilees 10 and 17 reads, and in his life on earth he excelled the children of men, save Hanok, because of the righteousness, wherein he was perfect. Hanok, because of the righteousness wherein he was perfect. For Hanok's office was ordained for a testimony to the generations of the world, so that he should recount all the deeds of generation unto generation to the day of judgment. So, our third example, Hanok, perfect. Another man, man and woman. Man and woman. I'm from man and woman. You're from man and woman. I just gave you 3 examples of people coming that come from man and women. Perfect. Noah, Noach, Abraham, Hanok. There's 3. Let's keep it rolling now. Let's go to Jasher 26 and 17. Jasher 26 and 17 reads, and the boys grew up to their 15th year, and they came amongst the society of men. Esau was a designing, deceitful man and an expert hunter in the field. And Yaakov was a man perfect. And Yaakov was a man perfect and wise, dwelling in tents, feeding flocks, and learning instructions of Yahweh and the commands of his father and mother. Let's read this again. Yaakov was a man perfect. So I ask you again, who's telling you that you can't be perfect? We just saw 4 examples: Noah, Abraham, Enoch, and Yaakov. Don't worry, we're not done. Let's go to 1 Kings 15 and 3. 1 Kings 15 and 3 reads, and he walked in all the sins of his father. Sorry, let me start over. And he walked in all the sins of his father, which he had done before him. And his heart was not perfect with Yahweh Elohim, as the heart of David his father. So Shalomon's heart was not perfect as David his father, but that means David's heart was what? Perfect. David's heart was perfect. Another example. Let's go to 1 Kings 15 and 14. We're staying right here. Go down to verse 14. 14 reads, but the high places were not removed. Nevertheless, Acca's heart was perfect with Yahweh all his days. Acca's heart was perfect with Yahweh all his days. Who's telling you that you can't be perfect? Huh? Who's telling you you can't be perfect? 2 Chronicles 15:17. I'm just going to keep harping on this. I'm showing you. How am I going? 2 Chronicles. 2 Chronicles. What am I looking at? 15:17. 15:17 reads, but the high places were not taken away out of Yasharel. Nevertheless, the heart of Acca was perfect all his days. Acca was perfect. The heart of Acca was perfect all his days. Who's telling you you can't be perfect? We're not even getting to the point of Jesus, Christians. I'm not even talking to you about Jesus, because Jesus to you is he's God. He's God himself in the flesh. I'm not even getting to that. Of course, God is perfect in your logic. I don't worship a God, but of course he's perfect, right? Let's go to Job 1 and 1. Let's go Job 1 and 1. 1 and 1 reads, there was a man in the land of Utes whose name was Job, and that man was perfect. And that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared Elohim and eschewed evil. Job, and that man was perfect. Let's read verse 8. And Yahuwah said unto Satan, have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and a upright man, one that fears Elohim and eschews evil. So Job, perfect. So let's go back. Noah, perfect. Abraham, perfect. Enoch, perfect. Yaakov, perfect. David, perfect. Asa, perfect. Job, perfect. Who's telling you you can't be perfect? We live in an evil world, but who's telling you you can't be perfect? Let's go to Sirach 34 and 8, or Ecclesiasticus. Ecclesiasticus. Sirach 34 and 8. So, how are you perfect in the eyes of the Creator? Because we just saw Noah, Abraham, Enoch, Jacob, David, Asa, and Job, all perfect. So, how are we perfect? Sirach, Ecclesiasticus 34 and 8 reads, the Torah shall be found perfect without lies, and wisdom is perfection to a faithful mouth. So we just went through all those people that were perfect because they were following the Torah of Yahweh. Now let's go to 44 and 17. Sirach 44 and 17 reads, Noah was found perfect and righteous. In the time of wrath, he was taken in exchange for the world. Therefore was he left as a remnant of the earth when the flood came. Noah was found perfect. Amazing. Now, let's go to our Melchizedek, Yahusha. Go to 1 Kepha 1:19. 1 Kepha 1 and 19 reads, but with the precious blood of Mashiach, as of lamb without blemish and without spot. Perfect. Without blemish, without spot. Perfect. And let's just go to, while we're here, 2 and 22. Speaking on Yahusha again. Who did no sin, neither was guile found in his mouth. Who did no sin. If you do not sin, you're what? Perfect. Yahusha setting the example for us. Yahusha setting the example for us. Now, contrary to popular Christian belief, Yahusha comes from men and women, just as Noah, Abraham, Enoch, Jacob, etc. Who's saying you can't be perfect? A lot of Christian logic is Jesus is the only perfect person because he's not even completely human. And if he did it, so I don't have to do it. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. That's just flat out wrong. Right? That's just flat out wrong. There's examples in here of our ancestors. Perfection. Let's go to Yachanan 17:23. Yachanan 17:23. I and them, and you and me, that they may be perfect in one, and that the world may know that you have sent me and have loved them as you love me, that they be made perfect. Made perfect. Go to Jacob 1:25. Jacob, where am I at here? 1 and 25. 25 reads, but whoso looks into the perfect Torah of liberty and continues therein, he being not a forgetful hearer, don't be a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in his deed. Let's read this again. But whoever looks into the perfect Torah, the law and the prophets, and continues therein, he being not a forgetful hearer, don't just hear it. Don't let it go one in ear and out the other. Don't just read your scriptures. Study your scriptures. But a doer of the work. I mean, man, I'm built for work. I'm a doer of the work. This man shall be blessed, Baruch, in his deed. Hallelujah. Let's go to Tehillim 19 and 7, wrapping this up. Tehillim 19 and 7. 7 reads, the Torah of Yahweh is perfect, restoring the soul. The testimony of Yahweh is sure, making wise the simple. Are you simple? Well, a lot of people are really simple. But what can make you wise? The Torah. Why? The Torah is perfect, restoring the soul. The testimony of Yahweh is sure, making wise is simple. Sheesh. Yeshayahu 8 and 20. Yeshayahu 8 and 20 reads, to the Torah and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. To the Torah, if they do not speak on the Torah, if I were to come on here and tell you that you don't have to follow the Torah, it is because there would be no light in me. If I'm being completely honest, to the Torah and to the testimony. What's the testimony? The words, the laws, and the prophets. If they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. So if anyone speaks to you, this is not my words. This is not Bo's words. This is the word of Yahweh. To the Torah and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, they do not tell you to follow the law and the prophets. It's because there is no light in them. And what they are wolves in sheep's clothing. They might come off to you real nice, sweet, and gentle, but they are wolves in sheep's clothing. They are here to steal your salvation. Let's go to Mishlei 6 and 23. Wrapping this up. Mishlei 6:23 reads, for the commandment is a lamp, and the Torah is light, and reproofs of instruction are the way of life. So if he speaks not according to the Torah, we just read, there's no light in them. Why? Because Torah is the light. Torah is the light, and reproofs of instructions are the way of life. For the commandment is a lamp, and the Torah is light, and reproofs of the instruction are the way of life. Hallelujah. And then let's go to Jasher 47 and 8. 47. 8 reads, "Now therefore, my son, teach your children and your children's children to fear Yahweh, and to go in the good way which will please Yahweh Elohika. For if you guard the ways of Yahweh and his statutes, Yahweh will always guard unto you his covenant with Abraham." Yahweh, remember the covenant he made with our ancestors, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, "and will do well with you and your seed all the days." Who's telling you can't be perfect? There's only one way to be perfect. They're telling you can't be perfect because they're not giving you the instructions of how to. We just read all of our ancestors, Noah, Abraham, Enoch, Yaakov, David, Asa, that were perfect in the eyes of Yahweh. Why? Because they followed the Torah. I'm telling you, you can be perfect to Yahweh, but you have to follow the laws and the commandments, right? The Torah. And if he does not tell you to follow laws or the Torah, essentially, there is no light in him. So, family, that's all I got for you. Appreciate you tuning in. Shalom, shalom. Hopefully, this is a blessing to you. Hopefully, I could help you out in some way. But until next time, Yahweh willing, shalom, 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 shalom.